Welcome, everyone. Today, we are jumping right into something that is, truly the foundation of everything we do in ABA. We're talking section B.1 from the task list. We are going to get super clear on the differences between behavior, response, and response class. And believe me, getting this down isn't just about checking a box on the exam, it's about being a sharper, more effective clinician.
Right, so let's just get right to it. Have you ever been staring at an exam question or maybe even writing a behavior plan and you have that moment of panic like, wait, am I talking about the behavior generally or this one specific thing the client just did? Oh yeah, we've all been there. And the exam just loves to hammer this home because if we can't be precise with our language, our measurement and our interventions are just not going to be as effective.
And this is exactly why. This isn't just some fluffy, nice-to-know concept. It's an absolute need to know. This whole section falls under Domain B concepts and principles, which makes up a huge 14% of your BCBA exam. So yeah, really understanding these core terms, that's a massive step toward passing. Okay, so let's start with the biggest idea first. Think universe big, because that's really what behavior is. It's the entire universe of actions, literally every single thing a living organism does, from something as small as blinking an eye to something as huge as running a marathon, it all fits under this giant umbrella called behavior.
Okay, I know. You see that textbook definition and your eyes might start to glaze over a bit, but let's just break it down. It really just means three simple things. One, it's an interaction. An organism is doing something with its environment. Two, there's movement, some sort of displacement in space. And three, it causes a change that we can actually detect and measure. That's it. Not so scary when you put it that way, right? Oh, and here is the absolute best way to remember this. The dead man's test. It's so simple and it works every time. Ask yourself, can a dead man do it? If the answer is yes, then it is not behavior. So, can a dead man lie still? Yep. Can a dead man get pushed in a wheelchair? For sure. But can a dead man raise his hand or ask for a glass of water? Nope. That's behavior. It's an active process.
All right, so we've got our huge universe of behavior. Now let's grab a powerful telescope and zoom all the way in, focusing on one tiny, specific point of light. That single point of light, that's the response. It's the one single action that we can actually point to and count.
Exactly. This is so crucial. A response is a single occurrence. The general behavior might be hand raising, but when your student Sarah lifts her hand one time at 10:02 a.m., that specific action is the response. That's the little tally mark you put on your data sheet. It's your data point.
And you know, Cooper, Heron, and Hayward, White Bible as we all call it, they spell it out perfectly right here. Behavior is the big category, the big bucket. A response is just one single thing you pull out of that bucket. It seems simple, but getting that distinction right is incredibly powerful. Okay, so we've seen the whole universe, and we've seen this single star. Now, let's zoom out just a little bit and start looking at the constellations. These constellations are our response classes. I love thinking of them as a functional family. They're a whole family of different responses that are all related, not by what they look like, but by what they accomplish.
You got it. A response class is a group of responses that are all tied together by their function. They might look completely different on the surface, what we call their topography, but they all achieve the exact same outcome. It's not about the form, it's all about the function. Let's make this real. Picture a little guy, let's call him Leo, and he's in a busy classroom. All he wants in that moment is for his teacher to look at him. Now, Leo is a resourceful kid. He's got a whole bunch of tools in his toolbox he could use to get that attention. What do you think some of those might be?
And this table just lays it out so clearly. Look at this. Leo can raise his hand. He can call out teacher, or he could walk over and gently tap her arm. Now, look at those topographies. Arm extended, vocal cords vibrating, hand making contact. They look totally different, don't they? But what do they all have in common? They all have the same function. They get the teacher's attention. That's what groups them together into the same response class.
And that right there, that brings us to what might be one of the most important distinctions in our entire field. Seriously, I'm talking about topography versus function. If you can truly master this concept, you are going to be in such good shape, not just for the exam, but for your entire career.
Yup. Let's boil it down. Topography is simply what the behavior looks like. It's the form, the how. Function is the why. It's what the behavior gets for that person. It's the effect it has on the world.
So topography is form, function is purpose. Simple as that. All right, the foundation is set. We've defined our terms, we've looked at examples. Now let's get to the fun part. Let's see how this all plays out where it really matters, on that exam and in our day-to-day clinical work. Okay, exam hats on. Here's a classic style of question. You've got a client who wants a cookie. So they might say the word cookie, or maybe they just point to the cookie jar, or they might even grab mom's hand and pull her toward the pantry. 3 different actions, right? So these behaviors are all part of the same what? Take a second and think it through.
Let's break down how to solve this. First, what's the purpose? What's the function of all these different actions? It's to get the cookie. Second, what do the actions look like? Well, we have talking, pointing, and leading. Those are all different topographies. So what's our formula? Different forms plus the same function equals a response class. Bam! You got this. And this is why it's not just exam trivia, people. This is where the magic happens in our clinical work. Understanding response classes is absolutely fundamental for effective interventions. When we use something like a DRA, differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, we can't just pick a replacement behavior out of thin air. It must serve the exact same function as the challenging behavior we want to reduce. If it doesn't, the intervention will fail. This is how we create real, lasting change.
Okay, deep breath. We have covered a ton of critical info today. So before we wrap this up, let's just do a super quick, high-yield summary. These are the absolute must-know takeaways for your studies and your practice.
Here's your cheat sheet. Behavior is the whole category. A response is just one single example. A response class is a family of different responses that all work to get the same thing. They share a function. And for us as behavior analysts, function is everything. It is what drives our analysis and our interventions. Function is king.
So we want to leave you with a challenge. Go look at one of your current clients' behavior plans. Tonight, ask yourself this question. Is my operational definition so narrow that I'm just playing whack-a-mole with a single response, or have I truly accounted for the entire response class? Because when you start thinking in terms of response classes, you stop just managing behavior and you start truly changing lives. Thanks for diving in with us today.